welcome back. Here we are, episode 2 of our Montreal Expos 1994 MLB season do-over. The Expos are 30-20 on June 1st, 1994. They are leading the Marlins by 3.5 games, up by 4.5 on the Braves. And this is something that I probably should have looked up before I just noticed it, because I can't remember. Was there a wild card in 94? I know it was mid-90s-ish that the MLB added a wild card. And there wasn't actually a 94 postseason. Was there set to be? I think when they came back from the strike in 95, there was a wild card. Anyways, I'm sure you guys will let me know, or maybe I'll look it up after the video. I guess maybe I should have looked at that before this. Anyways, I can't remember. I thought they added the wild card after this strike. But maybe I'm totally off with that. The one-game wild card, of course, is way more recent. But yeah. All right. Anyways, let's get back on track here. Expos 30-20. They don't have the best record in the NL. The Astros and the Reds both have 32 wins, and the Pirates have 30 wins. NL Central's looking strong. Expanded standing-wise, we're exactly on with our Pythagorean. We are plus 54 run differential. We've only faced 11 lefties, so hard to base anything off that sample, but we're just 5-6 against them, so something to keep an eye on. We're 0-3 in extra inning games, so let's first look at a trade that we made. As you may imagine, it involved bringing in some pitching. And it also involved getting a lot older because, we're doing one season, so we can do that kind of stuff. So we traded Will Cordero, who's a 22-year-old shortstop who had a good amount of trade value. He's gone to Minnesota and been there for a week and been the league's best hitter, but just not a good enough infielder for me. And we don't have a DH. Maybe a guy would have kept around, or a guy would have looked for different trade value in a more longer-term sim. But we traded him, and we also traded 23-year-old Kirk Reuter, who is a young pitcher who I just don't really have a lot of faith in. And we brought in pitching help. We brought in Kevin Tapani from the Twins, and the Twins did eat a lot of salary in this deal, which helps us a lot because we don't have a ton of money. It gives us more flexibility down the stretch. So he's a captain, so that's good, but he also can slide in and be a good starter for us. Interestingly, he's on pace for 4.4 WAR and negative 0.3 RWAR, even though, something's off with that. Something's very off with that. So he's got, I think it might have to do with the fact they only threw 2 games so far. Something with Montreal's thing is weighing that down. But so his ERA is above average. His FIP is well above average, or well below average, I should say. Better than average. That would be the right phrasing. The least confusing phrasing. So Tapani's a good starter for us. We also brought in one of my favorite former Orioles, Scott Erickson. Erickson, for some reason, our manager has him in the bullpen, but he was struggling with a 9.27 ERA, but a much better 5.50, much better but still not good 5.50 FIP in Minnesota. He's in the bullpen, but I think he should be starting. And since we did get rid of Cordero, who is a utility infielder, we brought in another former Orioles legend, Jeff Rebele. Shout out to my brother Mike if he's watching. Huge Jeff Rebele fan. So he's just a utility infielder for us. And like I said, that's one of the fun things about playing a historical game is I can bring in players like this who I'm a big fan of. So that was the move we made. We brought in 2 pitchers. We replaced Cordero as our utility infielder. And so what's going on with the squad? Let's check it out. Larry Walker is putting up an absurd 204 WRC plus through 50 games. He's on pace for 10.6 WAR. I mean, what can you say about Larry? I mean, he's going to win the MVP if this continues. But Rondell White is on pace for 9.1 WAR. I mean, our offense has just been outstanding. I'll show you the team stats after this. Rondell White's been great. Moises Alou, a 160 WRC plus. Sean Barry has been strong. Marquise Grissom has been good. Of course, Replay, most of the stats aren't with us. And then after that, it really trails off. Where do I want to go with this? So Lansing is a backup infielder. We can live with him not being great. Maybe we'll want to replace him when we get closer to the deadline. Barbary has been okay. He's a good fielder, though. putting up very good fielding sets, but is hitting, we can live with an 84 WRC plus, 85 OPS plus. We can live with that. That's fine. He's on pace for 2.2 WAR, which is about an average major league player, and he's doing adding most of his eye with his glove. Darren Fletcher has not been good, but is a good catcher. Randy Milligan, only 14 plate appearances as a pinch hitter. Maybe we want to add somebody with more versatility rather than just a first base type guy. Cliff Floyd has really not played much. Maybe we want to add somebody with more experience and a better glove in the corner outfield. Lenny Webster, who I said I was thinking about replacing, I just haven't gotten around to it yet, I guess, but we probably should do that. And then Mike Gallego has been atrocious with about a 32 WRC plus. Now his BABIP's only 201. His career BABIP is 266, so if that could normalize a bit, that would be nice. His walk rate's actually above his career average, and his strikeout rate is below. So, go figure on that. Maybe his BABIP will normalize, and he'll be like an average-ish player for us. That would be nice. We could use that because he's a really good fielder. So yeah, I think most of our work here, assuming Gallego kind of evens out, I think most of our work here is on the bench, bringing in maybe a better backup catcher, a better all-around backup outfielder, and maybe a pinch hitter with more versatility, or just a more of a boss pinch hitter than Randy. I think Milligan's fine. But so he's a righty, Lansing's a righty, Rebelé's a righty, Cliff Floyd is a lefty, right? So we might want to add a lefty bat in there since Floyd's kind of been weak this year. He's really young. Probably should just be in AAA. He's only had 8 plate appearances. Pitching side of things, if you look at ERA plus, and of course anything above 100 is better than league average, very few guys are pitching poorly. I mean, Pedro's been league average, which is a little disappointing. He's gotten, I think he hit a rough patch. He was pitching well. I'm not really sure how he's on pace for 4.1 WAR and 1.8 R WAR when his ERA plus and FIP minus are not that drastically different. I'm not sure if there's something off in the calculation, historical sims or what. But so, Jeff Shaw, Scott Erickson, most of that isn't with us. Dennis Boucher. Some of these guys have been rough, but Boucher's only pitched 3 innings for us, so really hard to judge him. But other guys have been quite good. Adolph, who is in our rotation now, hasn't started yet, but he's in instead of Erickson. Wetland, Rojas, Nen, all been excellent. Jeff Facero has been good. Ken Hill, Kevin Tapney, good seasons. Facero's on pace for 5.5 WAR and 6.3 R WAR. This WAR and R WAR seems more in line with the ERA plus and the FIP. But so that's kind of where we're at with the individual players. Team-wise, you can see we're first in so many things. We're third in runs scored, but just an amazingly good offense. Defensive efficiency is 9th. Zone rating is 2nd. We're third in runs allowed. Our starters ERA is 5th. Our bullpen ERA is 3rd. So our pitching has not even really been bad. But I think I'll go out and try to add probably a great bullpen arm and like an ace starter in the deadline, as well as maybe a pinch hitter. I think it's my tentative plan as of now. I'm going to wait a little while. It's only June 1st. I'll probably wait till like July-ish to do that. So that's where the team's at now as of June 1st. So let's jump ahead a month or so here and then kind of get into the trade deadline and reassess our needs and see how we're doing with all that. Okay, so it's now July 1st. We've put some distance between ourselves and the rest of the division. We're 6.5 up on the Braves. Marlins have faded 10 back. We had a really good month. Pedro Martinez was just sensational. Let's look at his. I didn't even look at his splits, what they were. So he made 6 starts, went 42 innings, a 1.48 ERA, a 1.95 FIP, struck out 10.8 guys per 9, which for 1994 is just crazy. Didn't give up a single home run. Yeah, Pedro, and he had good BABIP luck too, but a sensational month from Pedro. The 22-year-old is establishing himself as a true ace here. Otherwise, the offense keeps humming along. The pitching, has come up, and the defense is good. This is a really solid team. I'd say I'd like to add an arm or two still. I think Facero and Martinez are good. Ken Hill, I like Tapani better than Hill. I consider Tapani probably the third starter on this team. Erickson is now in the rotation. He's only made one start, but he jumped into the rotation. He's been pretty good for us. He's had a 3.26 ERA, a 4.25 FIP in 19 innings. But certainly I'd like to add to this pitching staff. I think both bullpen and starter. So the bat side of thing, Larry Walker killing it. Moises Alou killing it. Rondell White is great. Cliff Floyd is a very part-time guy for us. He's only 21, and I honestly kind of view him as a trade chip right now, given that we're just doing 1 year here, and he's not starting for us. He's good depth, but I'd rather go out and try to get a start at third base. I think we're good. Sean Berry's having a good year. Marquise Grissom is having a good year in center. Barbery's done fine. I'm comfortable with him there. Fletcher's fine. Gallego's still struggling, even though his BABIP's come up a bit. I think really this bench needs an injection. I think, like I said before, I think we should, I don't know, probably overhaul like the whole bench, to be honest. If I do trade Floyd, I'm going to need a lefty bat off the bench. I think basically replacing Floyd with a competent lefty bat and then maybe replacing Milligan with a better player and then replacing Webster with a backup catcher is probably my plan for the hitting side of things. So I figured that it wouldn't be a true Expos sim done for, like I said last time, requested by William, if I didn't make a trade with the Jays. So as noted, our noted Jays expert fan, our Jays everything, I feel like for William I should do that. So it's weird that Toronto's like the last team in the alphabet here, because you're not used to that with teams like the Washington Nationals around if you play more recent. So I did find a deal where I could get, Juan Guzman, who I think is a bona fide, top 20 pitcher in the game, bona fide ace. Maybe the ratings don't reflect a real ace. Maybe this is more probably like I think you could say he's one of the top 30 pitchers in baseball if you wanted to define it a number one starter that way. I think he's a good number one starter. I think him and Pedro would be a really solid 1-2 punch. Neither of them are necessarily like top 5 pitchers in the game, but I think they're both easily number one starters. So it would cost us Cliff Floyd, who really hasn't established himself yet as a major league player, but he's 21. Again, if we're playing multiple seasons here at the Expos, I don't think I'd be making this deal. But I think given this 1 year run we're on, I think we could do this. And then we'd also Josh Calley, who is a minor league pitcher who is having a good season, but I don't really see a lot of hope for. We'd include him too. I was hoping that Pat Borders or Randy Knorr would be a good defensive catcher, and I could get them thrown in there. I could get Joe Carter in this deal. They're willing to dump him because he's making a lot of money, but I just don't know that I really have the interest there. He's 34. He's not having a good year at the plate. So, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to take on that money. So the money in this deal is pretty even. I wonder if I could get them to eat any. Nah, they don't really want to eat any of his money. So I think my assistant GM is against it, and I get it. Like, you don't necessarily want to trade Cliff Floyd. I did look around to see, I shopped Floyd to see 1-for-1, and there wasn't anything even nearly as good as Guzman, just to kind of put in perspective how good Guzman is relative to the rest of the league. So all pitchers here, you can see, or let's starters. Actually, that makes more sense. Where is he's right here? So what? He's like in the 15th to 20th best pitcher in baseball. So he's really good. Maddox not going to trade for. He's on a division rival or in the hunt. The Royals are good. The Astros are good. The Padres are good. We're not going to trade for any of them. Candiotti we could probably acquire. Saberhagen is on the trade block. We could probably acquire him. Maybe we'll look into that before the deadline. But yeah, I think where's Clemens? Clemens is still in Boston. Okay, is Boston in it? Yeah, they're in the division race. So I'm going to try not to trade with teams who are still in the race. Kevin Brown. So yeah, so I think basically this shows that, I'll have Facero, Guzman, Martinez, who are all rated 60s overall, which, isn't the best tool to find who the best player is, but it's a good approximator. And you can see only down through Smoltz are actually. So I have 3 of the best. I don't know, what is that? 20 to 25 best starters in the game, and I think that's a really good rotation. So I think we'll make this trade. As you can see, you know, I'm not getting any of these guys straight up for Floyd, just like I'm not getting Guzman straight up. And I think Guzman makes a lot of sense. And also, he's got that awesome blue glove that he wore with the Blue Jays. I think it'll still match when he comes to Montreal. So I think that's just another reason to do this, is that blue glove was sharp. Juan Guzman, if you guys aren't familiar with him, do like a Google image search of Juan Guzman and check out that blue glove. That was awesome. So yeah, I'm going to do this trade just because this is a 1-year thing, and so Floyd's future value isn't as interesting to us. So we'll go ahead and do that. So now we need to get rid of a pitcher off our roster who maybe it'll be, I don't know who to. I mean, Boucher's our only lefty in the pen. It might make sense. I mean, Boucher's clearly the worst pitcher. Adolph's just pitched really well. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to send Adolph down for now, as long as he's got option years. He does. Just to keep, I want a lefty in the pen. I could send Tim Scott down. It says FIP is 4.96. Adolph's is 4.19. He's got better stamina. What's Scott's stamina? Terrible. Okay, maybe I'll send Scott down. Yeah, all right. We're going to send Tim Scott down for now. He might be back. And then we're going to add Guzman, and then we need to add an outfielder as well. I don't really know that we have a major league worthy outfielder down here. Oh, they say Lou Frazier is deserving of a call-up, they're saying. So we'll call up Frazier for now, but he's going to be replaced. So let's go ahead and promote him to Montreal. Welcome to the show, Lou. Or welcome back to the show, Lou. Let's see. So he puts Guzman in our 2 spot. Erickson goes back to the pen. Yeah, I need a really good lefty here. And then let's update our depth chart. So Frazier will be our backup on the corners. So now I want to see about getting a catcher to back up Fletcher. And I'd like it to be a righty bat. So let's go ahead and I'll show you kind of, and I want it to be a good defensive player. So let's look at catchers and fielding ratings, catcher ability. Well, Chris Hoyles is going to be too expensive to get. Is Terry Steinbach. Wow, he's still a starter. I'd like to be like a backup worthy catcher. Dan Wilson's a starter. And there's not a lot of really high catcher ability guys out here. I mean, Lenny Webster is one of the actually pretty good relative to the field. Maybe I'll just keep Lenny. It's probably not worth trying to upgrade, actually, now that I'm looking at that. So let's look to see if we can get an outfielder who's a lefty who kind of isn't a starter. So let's go to this. Let's sort by WRC plus and find a guy who's not getting a ton of at-bats. That's having a really good season here. I mean, some of these guys have like hardly any at-bats. Yeah, it seems like they're like starters or they've played like a little tiny bit. Kevin Bass is a switch hitter. He's not playing every day, but he's on Houston, who's in the hunt. Would love to get Mike Devereaux off the O's, but they're in the hunt. So maybe I'll do it this way of just kind of looking at some of the teams that are down in the dumps. Do the Giants have a good outfielder I could add to my bench? Oh, who's this guy? B. Bonds? I think, look at that contract. I like this guy's defensive profile. He's a righty hitter. But again, we're trying to add a bat here. Although I guess I could do, what I could do is try to add a bat for Milligan and then try to just add a good all-around defensive outfielder. So Lewis would kind of fit the bill for that. He only has experience in center, but he can obviously play all three positions. I mean, his arm sucks for right field, but he's going to catch everything. So let's see if we could bring in Darren Lewis. Like, what? Come on, man. You want, like... All right. Well, Darren Lewis is not going to be our guy. Let's try the trade block. See... all outfielders. Willie McGee, terrible fielder. Kingery's going to want to play every day. He has a lefty bat, though. Kingery would make our bench really strong. I don't even know that he'd necessarily be on our bench. I mean, I could get him for a young pitcher who, for some reason, they're interested in. I mean, they like value this guy pretty. They're not just willing to accept whoever. They generally want pretty good players. Except this one guy, they must really like for some reason. Avalar. Okay, I'm gonna do this. I think, you know, normally if this is a long-term sim, I'd probably spend a lot more time considering this, but given that it's just a one-off, one-year thing, and I kind of wanted to show how I go through. I don't always show all this detail in the Phillies thing because there's more stuff to cover, but kind of how I go through making these trades. This is kind of like a scaled-down version of what I do. So they're willing to eat 55% of the Kingery deal. So yeah, let's go ahead and make this deal. Let's bring in Kingery. The fans are excited, so that's good. And we'll send Lou Frazier back down. And we'll go ahead and add Kingery to the 25-man. What does Moises Alou think of that? Okay, so he's got Kingery as a bench bat. I think that's a pretty phenomenal bench bat to add. He hadn't been, he had been hitting in Colorado, right? But WRC plus and OPS plus are park adjusted. So, he's still a 16% above league average hitter. Now, he's 33 and he's never really been this good of a hitter. So, I think that's one reason we were able to acquire him. I think we still might want to acquire somebody for Milligan, and now Kingery maybe could be our main bat guy, and maybe we want a glove first guy in there for to replace Milligan on the bench. And Kingery is a lefty. Oh, he's a lefty. Awesome. I forgot to pay attention to that. So, yeah, let's think about how we would... So here are all batters. We could go all batters. Tim Wallach. Cool. Shane Mack. Kent Herbeck. Nice. Love Kent Herbeck. Sean Dunston. Cubs. Okay, I was going to say he was Cubs, right? Yeah, I remember Sean Dunston. Ooh, Ellis Burks. Also in Colorado. Not a good fielder. Why aren't any of these guys good? I want a good fielder, guys. Is anybody willing to trade a good fielder? No. Nobody's willing. Chili Davis is definitely not going to be a good fielder at 34. None of the. I mean, Shane Mack's an okay glove. Maybe I don't need to add a glove first guy. Walt Weiss is out there. Walter Weiss. So yeah, I'm not sure. Chad Kruder. That's awesome. All right. And then we also need to add some relievers. So let me think about this. Let me figure out what we're gonna do here. All right. So I jumped ahead to July 18th just to get us a little closer to the deadline. 57 and 34, still looking to be in control of the the NL East. So yeah, I think the needs are the same. Guzman's made only 2 starts. One was pretty rough. The other one was okay. 5 1/3, 6 runs, and then 8 innings, 4 runs in his 2 starts for us so far. Yeah, I think the need is still bringing in back-end bullpen arms, particularly a lefty or 2. I'd like to probably get Boucher off this team. Adolph, maybe replace him. Erickson, I like having his rotation depth. If a starter would go down, I feel pretty good about Erickson jumping in, unless of course Adolph is who my manager wants. Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling pretty good about this team. I think Gallego's just been totally inadequate, but mean, he's been really good in the field, but he's still been below replacement level in the end, which is not really what you want. So maybe we should look at that too. Other than that, I think we're okay with the bats. I mean, you know, Webster hasn't been good. Milligan hasn't been good. Lansing and Rebel have been okay as backup infielders. So, you know, maybe we want to replace Milligan with, like, I don't know, probably a fifth outfielder, I'm thinking. I don't really know that we need another first baseman. I mean, multiple guys can play first base, I think, on our squad, maybe, I thought. I mean, guys like this could, you know, Barry could always hop across the diamond. Alou could play first base if he had to. Rebele has a first base rating. So I don't really know that we need a first base left fielder on our roster, who's especially one who's performing so badly this season. So let's see what we can do with the bullpen first. And I'd like to bring in a couple lefties. So let's go to all relievers. Here we go. Paul Ostenmacher, one of the best names in sports. Looks to be the best lefty on the market. What's going on with the White Sox that they're punting? Okay, yeah, they're out of it by far. They're 19.5 back. So they just want to, like, punt on him. They want, like, real players back, it appears. I mean, Henry's the guy who was out, and he's on a rehab assignment now. He went out for 4 months. I mean, he's a lefty, though. I'd probably rather not give him up. If I'm giving up a depth piece, I'd probably rather... And I don't really want to give up a good prospect for him because I want to save those in case we have a bigger need arise between now and the trade deadline. Also, I don't know. I just don't really feel like giving up a big prospect for a reliever, even in a one-season sim. Ricky Ortega, I think I'd be fine giving up. I don't really see much of a future for him with this club. I think he's a decidedly mediocre player or pitcher. I guess the question then becomes, do they have, like, an outfielder we could bring in, like Tim Raines Sr.? That'd be fun. I like Tim Raines. He's fun, and he's a switch hitter. Is he pretty good from both sides, or? Yeah, he's pretty solid from both sides. He's making a lot of money, though. He's making $3 million. So I think we'd be able to afford him just because, you know, obviously it's prorated from what he's already earned this season. Lance Johnson is a lefty bat. So they will put in Tim Raines Sr., who's having a really good year. He only has eligibility in left field. That's kind of annoying. And Ozzie Guillen's their shortstop. He's on the trade block too. He's having an absolutely awful year at the dish, which isn't, you know, all that uncommon for him. Ozzie Guillen was never a good hitter. And Ozzie Guillen in today's game would not be an everyday player for this many years. He was just so bad with the bat. So they're really just looking to dump salary. So I could get Tim Raines Sr., Ozzie Guillen. I'm just not sold on Guillen, man. I don't know that he's gonna be any better than Gallego. I think he's basically gonna be a Gallego clone. You know, Tim Raines Sr., I'm interested in him. Switch hitting, outfielder, bench bat. Maybe he'd get into some games for us, too. I don't know how they would sort it out, how my manager would sort it out. Are you no times 1,000? Okay, they really don't want to eat any salary here, huh? How about on Ostenmacher? All right, they'll eat some of this salary. So we'll have 1.2 mil left. I think this addresses two pretty big needs with our need for a better bench and need for a good lefty reliever, and I'm fine giving up Ortega, so we're going to go ahead and complete that trade. Our fans are very excited that we got Tim Raines, and so we need to make 2 roster spots available. I think one we can do by, can we just get rid of Milligan for, like, let me think, what would we want in the minors? Let's just see, can we get any prospects for him? Decent pitcher. What if we eat like half of it? Yeah, it doesn't look like we're gonna get a ton for him, but just making sure that nobody's super interested in him. Maybe somebody who doesn't have any budget room? Nah. Well, Jose Melendez is an interesting lefty if we had an injury. We got to eat 100% of the deal, though. I don't really know that he's that exciting. So, yeah, I think let's get rid of Milligan here for Corey Bailey. It'll open up a roster spot. It'll give us a guy who can hop in should we need, you know, if we have a bunch of injuries or something. Let's see, do they have anybody else that would be cool to add? Kyle Nelson's a really good fielder. They're not all that into that. Alright. Is this a guy that we want? Yeah, this is a good guy to have in our minor league system with that range. I don't really have a lot of depth, so that's why I'm kind of looking at guys like, yeah, this is a useful player if we had injuries because he can field his ass off. So, oh, Todd Froworth. What are you doing in the minor league, sir? You Orioles legend. Oglesby, any use? I mean, he's versatile. Yeah, we'll bring him in too. Just trying to add guys who, like, if I was hit with a slew of injuries, who would be better than what I'd sign on free agent, as free agents. So let's go ahead and complete that trade. Those three guys will go into our minor league system. Now we can go ahead and, I guess, send down Boucher. I don't even know if he has option years. We'll find out. Okay, no, he doesn't. I think he's the guy that we want to send down, though. Probably pretty obviously, right? Yeah, so let's DFA Boucher. Ossenmacher comes in. Tim Raines comes in. And so he's got Ossenmacher in a middle relief role. Lineups, what do they do with this? Is a stacked outfield now. So Raines is going to play as a backup at left field, right field. Hopefully him and Kingery won't be too upset. I mean, that's a really strong bench now. Feeling pretty good about it. You know, I do kind of wish that Mike Lansing, I wish I could turn him into a better first base guy. I know I said I don't really need or want a backup first baseman, which is true. But at the same time, if Walker went down, I'm not in love with Rebele being the replacement. So it would be nice to find a guy who can play multiple positions like Rebele, including first base, who could step in. That guy might not be available. Surhoff is generally pretty... Yeah, like BJ Surhoff I would prefer over Lansing. And let me just make sure that, and Rebele can play middle infield positions. So yeah, so I don't really need Lansing here, I don't think. And I bet I could get a decent amount for Lansing. So let's first go and see. Oh, Roberto Alomar is on the trading block. That's awesome. I loved the way this guy played. I mean, I didn't love that he spit in the guy's face, and I don't love the allegations, or not allegations. I don't know where all that stands. I know it's just done some really terrible things. But as a baseball player, I loved watching him play back before all that was evident that he wasn't the best person. Man, there's some really fun names out here now. Teams that are punting. The A's are punting on the season? What? Really? Thought you guys are... Oh, no, they're 39 and 52. That'd be kind of fun to bring in Ricky. But, I mean, I already kind of have my left fielder. Or to bring in Eckersley. He's 39 now. That would be kind of fun. All right, so let's try to bring in BJ Surhoff. I won't go down too many rabbit holes here with you guys. So let's try to bring him in. Trade for player. Yeah, they're wanting Jack Krajewski or Josh Krajewski. Yeah, I'll do this. I mean, he's ripping it up in the minors. And he's 24. That's why they're interested in him. Would you, sirs, be willing to retain your salary? Okay, cool. And then let's see if we can add more minor league depth here too. I don't think they're gonna add the number 54 prospect to baseball yet. No. Oh, Mike Matheny. Mieski is on the 40 man. I don't want him. Well, actually, it doesn't matter if he has options, which he does. Again, you know, here I'm just trying to add minor league depth because I don't have much of it. Doesn't look like they're all that excited about adding a guy in here while retaining 25%. Nah, all right, no big deal, no big deal. So let's go ahead and make this deal for Surhoff. That way, you know, I feel like we have a better option at first base if something happens to Walker, God forbid. So now let's see what we can get for Lansing. Oh, we need to advance a day. All right. Because I used all my shops. All right, let's shop Lansing around to make room on the roster. Let's just see in terms of regulars what's out there. Wow, Paul Quantrill. Okay, Junior Felix. Joey Cora. I wonder. Eric Punk's a pretty good reliever. I wonder. Yeah, Mike Bordick is available. How's he? He's pretty lightweight, and he's not as good in the field as Gallego. Greg Olson. Did he go to Atlanta in real life? I didn't remember him leaving the O's to go to Atlanta. Okay, guess that's a thing. I don't know. Rod Beck. That's fun. He was a fun guy. Yeah, let me see. Can I get a shortstop here for my guy Lansing? Like a actual real starting shortstop? He's having a good season in AAA. He's never really hit at the major league level. Yeah, I mean, Bordick seems like a decent bet. Castilla can't play short, can he? No, not really. Walt Weiss, Yeah, I don't know. Let's look at the player list of all shortstops. I mean, Larkin's not going to be traded. Jose Valentin. He's having a really nice season. Oh, the Red Sox are in the hunt. For some reason, I thought they had faded. Trade for Cal Ripken. Randy Velarde. Yeah, this is just not, you know, shortstop just wasn't as strong of a position back in this day is one thing about it. What are the Reds doing? Are they having a great year? Yeah, they're in first place. I think Mike Bordick might be our best bet, which isn't like something to be super enthusiastic about, but I think he's a good enough fielder. I think he historically has been okay. Nah, I just don't know. I just don't know if he's any better. Which is why I would kind of like to go to find the player list, you know, and find a guy who's awesome in the field and a good bat. You know, Valentin is on the Brewers. What's their deal? 47. Oh, they're out of it. I mean, they're 11 back of the wild card and 15.5 back in the division. I wouldn't mind trading for Jose Valentin. He's having a great year. Now, are they even willing to consider a trade for him? No, it doesn't look like it. Looks like this might. See, this is why I held on to some of my prospects, though. Cumberland has gotten a lot of interest from people. Man, still nothing. All right, let me just do something obscene. What if I give you Pedro? No, you're still not sold on with Pedro, but now we can identify guys they're interested in. put in this guy, Camacho, top 100 prospect. Yeah, I don't know if this is gonna happen, to be honest. I mean, Henry still seems to have some value. Let's throw him in there. This is basically right now about trying to find a way to do it without including Pedro is what I'm trying to do, but I don't know if that's going to be possible. Because they basically, they do value Mike Lansing. But yeah, I think they're just, I mean, you know, who would want to trade him? He's like a cornerstone player for them right now. Yeah, not going to be possible without throwing Pedro in, it doesn't look like. So, you know, oh well, that was worth a shot. I don't know that there's anybody else here who's going to be a difference maker for us. I mean, Kevin Stocker's a good fielder, but he was good with the bat last year. You know, we could always try to catch lightning in a bottle with one of these guys. Jay Bell is historically, you know, a much better hitter than Gallego. He's a decent enough fielder. Are the Pirates in a position where they would be trading? Yeah. So we could try Jay Bell too. Let's try Bell for Lansing here, right? Let's try that. All right, need you guys to eat a little salary here, or a lot of salary. This is a no-go. Got a better offer. Okay, we can work with this. Let's trade them. Butch Henry. Do I even need to include Lansing? No, we can include somebody much worse. Aaron Jenkins. Will you eat more salary? Okay, cool. So we can bring in Jay Bell for Henry and Jenkins. Let's do that. Traded for an all-star. Nice. The players appreciate bringing in Bell. So I need to start out of this. So we need to get Surhoff and Bell both on the roster now. All right, so what's going on here? We need to get rid of Lansing. Let's try to deal him again since we ended up not dealing him. Let's see what we can get in terms of relievers for him. We're willing to eat some salary here too to get a better reliever, by the way. Paul Quantrill is a decent guy. I'd prefer to get a lefty in. What's Guthrie? Guthrie's a lefty. He's had a really bad year. Wow, terrible year for Guthrie. But not necessarily writing him off because of that. Scott Radinsky is a lefty, having a much better year. Okay, let's do that. Let's bring in Radinsky. And can you give me a player from your minor league system? Anyways, hopefully this is interesting to you guys. I decided to kind of do this with this sim, just kind of show you more details of how I play through it. So yeah, let's do that trade. And now I got to sort out this 25-man situation. It's a mess. So we've got an open spot. So we're going to put Surhoff on. We're going to make him, I mean, I know this position doesn't matter too much, but we're going to list him as a first baseman. And then we have 12 pitchers. So who are we going to get rid of here? I guess Jeff Shaw's had a pretty rough year. He has an option year left, so I think Shaw can go down. And then we can go ahead and put Radinsky on the roster. And let's see what our manager thinks of having a second lefty. Radinsky's long relief. Ossenmacher will be a specialist when we need one. Rotation still looks good. So lineup-wise, I guess it's like, who are we going to send out here? could be Jeff Rebele, which is a shame because I'm a big Rebele fan. But I mean, it could be Gallego too, but I think I'd rather keep Gallego because he can play shortstop so well, whereas Rebele cannot. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure Rebele's out of options. Oh, he's got an option here left. Okay, so we can send Rebele down. And then we can add All-Star Jay Bell to our roster. And then what does Moises Alou think of that? Yeah, so I feel pretty good about this team now. We got Fletcher, Walker, Barbary, Barry, Bell, White, Grissom, and Moises Alou. And then our bench now is Surhoff, Gallego, Raines, and Kingery. I think that's really good. I'd still like to add an arm to this bullpen, to be honest. At the expense of who is a good question, though. I mean, everybody's pitched pretty well here. So I don't really know who I'd move out necessarily. You know, Adolf has option years left. He's pitched well, but I could always go out and try to add like a top arm for him. So the trading block, all relievers. Let's just look at pitching ratings. You know, I mean, I think my team would obviously be better if I brought in like Brian Harvey or Dwayne Ward. Doug Jones would be a fun add as well. Oops, what did I do? Yeah, let's try to bring in Dwayne Ward from the Mets. Let's see. Are they just willing to like give him away or no? Oh, come on. Get out of here. You got him on the trade block and you want like a cornerstone player for him? Get out of here. Brian Harvey. Okay, well, this could dictate us not trading for anybody. If teams really want this good of players for... I mean, we might be able to find a package that works here for Jones. No. All right. Yeah, so that's a little bit of a buzzkill on trading for an awesome reliever. Yeah, they basically want really good players. So I don't know that we're going to do this then. Todd Worrell is out there. Todd Worrell is a fun player. Tom Hankey. Yeah, I think I'll probably just stand pat. Maybe I'll go up to the deadline here and then see if any prices drop. Why don't we do that? Let's see what happens here. I received a trade proposal. I don't want to do this. No, I don't want to give you 3 prospects for him. Let's just go up to the deadline and see what's going on. Oh, Boucher. All right, go to AAA, please. Thank you. Received another trade proposal. Oh, Mark Guthrie. Yeah, no, I don't want to give you multiple prospects for Mark Guthrie. Get out of here. Stop offering me Mark Guthrie. All right, so we're 6-4 in our last 10. We're 64-38. We're 13.5 up on the Phillies. Man, Mets, Marlins, Braves, all these teams have faded. Let's see. Jay Bell has been here for 10 games and he's hitting well. Tim Raines has gotten 6 pinch hit appearances. Kingery has had 28 plate appearances. Pitching side of things, Juan Guzman got a couple more starts. Oh, and he's pitching great now. Oh, he's pitched outstanding his last 3 starts. Good, good, good. Asemacher has thrown 5 2/3 so far. And Radinsky for us has thrown 7 innings and been successful. So let's just go and see if any of these players on the trade block, the relievers, really be something to bring in Randy Johnson, to bring him back to Montreal. Like what? I mean, it's really tempting. Okay, yeah, they're not serious about trading him. I mean, he's on the trade block, but like, they want an obscene amount for him. Trying to find a way just to see like, you know, yeah, this isn't gonna happen. I mean, I could give up Tapani and Facero for him. Like, that's feasible, but I'm not gonna do it. So yeah, I'm gonna mess around more. I've kind of like, gone off on tangents here. I'm gonna mess around some more, see if I can bring in anyone else. Or why don't we just finish off the relievers here? The only thing I'm gonna do is just see, can I bring in a reliever for a reasonable price? Has your price come down? No. Has your price come down? Not really. No, so it doesn't look like the price has changed much here on relievers. Greg Olson's out there. We didn't look at him earlier. Okay, so we could bring in Greg Olson. I think that's an upgrade. Juan Martinez isn't really somebody we need to keep around. And they'll eat his entire deal. So yeah, all right, we'll bring in Greg Olson to fortify our bullpen. Then who we say we're sending out? Adolph, right? Yeah. He's pitched well, but I think he's clearly Greg Olson is an upgrade over him. So Olson comes in, goes into the bullpen, and wow, just a middle reliever. Just a middle reliever. So we've got two lefties now out there. We've got a lefty in rotation. So yeah, so that's the team we're going to move forward with. Hopefully this episode did not drag on too much for you. I know some people sometimes ask me to kind of show more of my process. So I've tried to do that some in the Philly sim, but certainly not to this level of detail. So yeah, so hopefully that was interesting to see, and I think I'll probably just update you guys at the end of the season now. So talk to you next episode. Thank you for watching.